What is causing this? A demographic winter is coming as fertility rates plummet all over the globe, Michael Snyder reports. Fertility rates have fallen way below replacement level throughout the entire industrialized world, and this is starting to cause major problems all over the globe. Aging populations are counting on younger generations to take care of them as they get older, but younger generations are not nearly large enough to accomplish that task. We're talking about the taxation used for paying Social Security and pensions, right? Now, meanwhile, there are not enough qualified young workers in many fields to replace the experience of older workers that are now retiring. Sadly, this is just the beginning. As I discuss in my new book entitled Chaos, if fertility rates continue to drop, we could potentially be facing an unprecedented global population collapse in the decades ahead. This has become so evident that even the mainstream media is starting to do stories about this. In fact, an economist that was just interviewed by the Wall Street Journal is warning that demographic winter is coming, quote unquote. Fertility is falling almost everywhere for women across all levels of income, education, and labor force participation. The falling birth rates come with huge implications for the way people live, how economies grow, and standings of the world's superpowers. In high-income nations, fertility fell below replacement in the 1970s and took a leg down during the pandemic. It's dropping in developing countries too. India surpassed China as the most populous country last year, yet its fertility is now below replacement. The demographic winter is coming, said Jesus Fernandez Villaverde, an economist specializing in demographics at the University of Pennsylvania. And here in the United States, if we want to maintain a stable population, we need the fertility rate to be at 2.1 or above. Unfortunately, our fertility rate dropped to just 1.62 last year, which was an all-time record low. In the US, a short-lived pandemic baby boomlet has reversed. The total fertility rate fell to 1.62 last year, according to provisional government figures, the lowest on record. Had fertility stayed near 2.1, where it stood in 2007, the US would have welcomed an estimated 10.6 million more babies since, according to Kenneth Johnson, senior demographer at the University of New Hampshire. Our native-born population has been in decline for quite some time. The only reason why the US population as a whole has not been shrinking is because of the tremendous amount of immigration that has been happening. But even though it is not shrinking, the US population has been rapidly getting older, and it's being projected that just 6 years from now, seniors will actually outnumber children for the first time in our entire history. Seniors are set to outnumber children for the first time in American history within 6 years, as experts warn that the country is about to struggle with a dramatically aging population. The silver tsunami, as has already been the burden on working age people, doubled since 1960 when there were 6 workers for every over 65. Needless to say, seniors are counting on all the rest of us to fund Social Security and Medicare, but they are way too few of us, and so a day reckoning for those programs is quickly approaching. Actuaries warned last year that Social Security's trust fund is expected to be depleted by the year 2034. That's only in 10 years. With spending on welfare and Medicare predicted to rise from 9.1% of US GDP to 11.5% in just 12 years. And America's changing age profile means there will be just 2.75 working age people for every dependent age person by the year 2030, when children are included. Of course, it is not just the United States that's dealing with such issues. In Japan, South Korea, and China, fertility rates are even lower than they are in the United States. The problem is not confined to the US, with most developed nations experiencing an aging population, including Japan, whose population is expected to shrink 30% by the year 2070, when 4 in 10 will be over 65 years old. The situation is so stark in South Korea that Oxford University professor David Coleman predicted the entire country would be extinct at current rates by the year 2750. And even China, which recently lost its status as the world's most populous nation to India, is now shrinking at a rate of nearly 1 million people a year. And fertility rates are also way below replacement level all over Europe. The projected fertility rates in Central, Eastern, and Western European countries are all below the global average estimated for 2050 and 2100, and are already lower than what is needed to sustain population growth. The total fertility rate in Western Europe is projected to fall from 1.53 in 2021 to 1.44 in 2050 and 1.37 in 2100. Italy, Spain, and Andorra were projected to have the lowest fertility rates by then. So what is causing this? As I've warned my readers for many years, sperm counts have dropped to catastrophically low levels all over the planet. If sperm counts continue to decline at the rate they have been, eventually most males will be infertile. Infertility is also at frightening levels among our young women. I'm sure that most of you know couples that desperately want to have children but have been unable to do so. Meanwhile, our culture has become rapidly anti-child and rapidly anti-family, and as a result there are vast hordes of young people that have decided that they never want to be parents. And thanks to the global reach of the entertainment industry, we're constantly exporting that culture to the rest of the world. So what are we witnessing? What we are witnessing should not be a surprise to any of us. We're simply reaping what we have sown. There are about 8 billion people living on our planet today, but it won't stay that way for long. Population decline has already become a major political issue in nations all over the globe, and during the years ahead, vast numbers of people will be wiped out by wars, pestilences, famines, and natural disasters. Humanity has become incredibly selfish and self-centered, and as a result, we have stopped caring about the future. All throughout human history, successful societies have always greatly valued marriage, family, and children, but now we have embraced new values, quote unquote, and we're rapidly destroying the bright future that we could have had. This is by Michael Snyder on End of the American Dream. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Michael's new book entitled Chaos, available in paperback and for Kindle on Amazon, and you can check out his new Substack newsletter right here. About the author, Michael Snyder, extremely controversial new book, Chaos, available in paperback and Kindle on Amazon. He's also written 7 other books available on Amazon, including End Times, 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, commissions earned. When you purchase any of Michael's books, you help to support the work that he's doing. You can also get his articles by email as soon as he publishes them by subscribing to his Substack newsletter. Michael has published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, The Most Important News, and he always freely and happily allows others to republish those articles on their own websites. You can connect with Michael on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and share his articles on your own social media accounts. It's definitely a great help. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, we strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.